So I'm going to talk to you about the second half of the control structure about JavaScript in here, and it overlaps with what's called scoping, and it's also structure in here as well. So I want to use the analogy, what you're going to hear, what people call as the king territory, or think of it like a story. Let's say this king, and he has this huge piece of land, and he has two sons. And his son, that he's going to give this piece of land to this son, that he gets to dominate this his castle and his wall. This other son has another piece. That second son has a second piece of land, and he doesn't want to do anything with that piece of land, so he basically let his father runs the land. So with that analogy, the analogy is called scope, and I'm going to use this story to basically to use as a metaphor to explain what is scope and how the variable works with as well. I create a directory called 02_basic. Alright, I want to right mouse click on it. I'm going to come down to a new file. I'm going to call this file called scope.js for JavaScript with it. And this is what it looks like right now. So let me document this as we talk through this conversation that we have. I want to block comment this with it, so we can see what's going on here with it. So so this is all about scoping with it. So scope is a set of parameters and boundaries and for the variables to exist in, and what's going to be overlap with some of the stuff with it. So let me just go ahead and do this. I'm going to create a scope.js, which is a scope file that I have right now. I'm going to define, remember how we do let and var with it. So the variable is going to be king, and I want to let John, this is John, he's the king right now. I'm going to write a simple structure called a selection statement called true, and inside of this I want to define let king and the son, let him be, let's call this one Sam. And then I'm going to come into and put in a nested one in here. So in the second if statement, if this is true, I'm going to let the king be Sam and Jay. Okay. And then I'm going to do an output. I want to do king with it. And then outside of this, if this is true, and I'm going to come in over and then I'm going to call king to be the root. Let's make this a little clear here. Let's do this. Let's do this time so we know which one is which here. So I'll put this thing inside of that with this. So better yet, let's say I'll say something along the line. John is the ruler, and for the second part, and we concatenate that, close that quote off, and the king is, and we'll leave it with that, and it's going to put that variable, and this is what our discussion is going to be about right here. So let me move this over a little bit. Let me explain what's going on here. So this is the basically the first son, right? One more. I'm missing one more here. Yeah. So this is the first son right here, and he gets this piece of land with this set of boundaries, the left and curly brackets with this. And the first variable is the king, which I'm going to call this global, meaning he owns everything out of here. The second son gets this piece of land, and the boundaries are here. Now, the second son doesn't want to run the land, so he gives it to his dad. So you get two sons here. All right. Now, the way I'm gonna save this, I can save it. All right, and then we're gonna actually pull up the terminal with this thing, with it, and I want to run this right now with it. Remember how we run this is to do node, and we just run the file name with this. So this is scope.js. So I want to run that. Oop, I got an error. Excuse me. Oh, I have to go into the subdirectory of 02 basic. My apology. So remember how I'm not in the directory with it. So I need to do cd 02 underscore basic. Okay, now I'm in that directory, right? So can you see that down that low at the bottom? So here I need to, let me hit up arrow key, Node.js. I still have King here, hang on. J. Hold on. Okay, I think this is what I did there. Let me comment this out because I need to comment one of them out. I'll tell you why in a second. Okay, so I'm gonna comment this out with it as well. Okay, so my apology. This is because we're in the same territory and I defined king twice, and I can't do that with it. I can't use the let in there as well. So let me run this again. I got ahead of myself here. Okay, so there's a reason why there's an error here, right? If you look at the structure right here, as in this left and right curly bracket, I cannot redeclare. If you recall, what let does is let is a local variable that you're declaring. You're already giving king the name Sam, and you're declaring a local in king and Sam, and then you're going to redefine it to king to J, and you can't do with let in there. So to fix this, we have to remove the let out of it, all right? And it now becomes, you just rename, changing out Sam with J in here, okay? So I'm going to run this again. And if you notice that coming down here, this is true and this is true, it's going to crank out as J is the output for this. And then the other one, John is the ruler of the second part. So this is the second part right here, and this king right here is, the name is John. Now, here's what I want to point out here, is that once we do this, the first thing is that you're in the same scope. You cannot rename that. So I commented that out with it, so you can see how that actually works with it. One of the things that you're going to see is that what if I went in here? All right, I'm going to let me comment out on J on this. What happens if I run this? Now there's what's called hoisting in JavaScript. JavaScript does what's called hoisting, is that it moves to the upper hoisting, it elevates that variable to the next one when it can't find it. So in this statement that is true, if I comment this out and it's going to look for a variable that's not in here, it's going to go outside of its curly brackets, it's going to go outside its structure and come up to here with it to take a look. By the way, let me do this again. I forgot to put in another set of brackets for you in here. So in this if right here, I want to set another boundaries in here as well. All right. So let me start. Let me clarify this again with it. So let me do this. So let me do this from the beginning. Start all over again. So I have let right. I'm going to compile this this time with the same things what I have here with it. So I'm going to run it, okay, with the same parameter. So this is true. It's going to come down. This is true. It's going to crank out as J. J is what you get, and this is John right here. Now again, because I just put in the left and right curly brackets for this, that allows me to actually run and JavaScript's very, very forgiving. You just saw that I had the right curly bracket. It lets me get away with that. So technically, what if I did this, all right? And if I ran this like I just did right now with it, well, it's true. It's going to still kick out its J with it as well. Now, what if I comment out J, the king variable J in here, and then I want to come up here, so it's going to hoisting. It's going to actually go up to the next level is king. So if I do that, guess what? It should give me Sam, and then John is the ruler for the second as well with it, right? So if I did that down here in my terminal, as you can see now, it should kick out as, since it's no longer J. Now, I didn't save this, my apology. Control S, I need to save this document up here. And you save it, make sure you save it. Alright, and hit up arrow key, and you notice it says Sam up here. You see that? Let me clear this so you can see this. So CLS for clear, and then I'm gonna, and you should see it kicks out as Sam because I didn't save it the last time before I did this. So what if I comment out Sam? Alright, so if Sam is not here, guess what it's going to go to? If this is true, it's going to hoist it to whatever the upper variable happens to be is John. So it's going to come up John is going to be the output, and also another statement is John is the ruler for the second part. Okay, so it's called hoisting. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so there. Oh, hang on, I didn't save it. My apology. You know, this right here, so I need to save it. Now I'm going to come down here, and it says John. Okay, so John now is the ruler for both of the areas. There's sun with it. Now, what if I comment out of this? This is going to give me an error because it doesn't have any variable to go to, right? So I'm going to save this. I'm going to do a CLS. No, I'm sorry, clear screen. I'm going to just comment out and do here. CLS for clear screen with it. Up arrow key. Alright, up arrow key. And it's going to be an error because every time it hoists, it goes up and it cannot find the variable with it. So it just gives me an error. So let me just remove this. So here's a couple of the things I want to point out in this. Is that you have a global variable, even though I declare it as let. What you need to do is declare things as var or let. Okay, be very careful because by the rule is that in JavaScript, if you do not declare a variable, it's going to use this as a global. This is what I'm talking about. All right, so you got to be very careful with this as well. So let me show you what I mean by that with it. So if I went down here, okay, and if I took this king, okay, and the king is Ram right here. Okay, so the king is J, and I'm going to come over here. I'm going to comment this out right now, the way all this looks like, right? And I have not declared this at all. I've not used let or var in this at all, right? Based on what I just told you, that king is global, all right, right now with it, right? So let me save this. Control S saves this. Come down here, do an pull node, and what do you see? It is accessing J inside a king coming out with it. So the moral of the story is please declare local or var. I'm sorry, let or var. Local is for the let, and when you declare it var, it is the global. All right, that's all for this scope.